FC Bartra is just 1 point away from victory, yet even in the face of despair, REO Mikage is smiling wide. That alongside Chris Prince being an actually good master for once has created what I would call an interesting chapter at the least. What's going on, everyone? My name is Animasu, and today we'll be taking a look at Blue Lock Chapter 297, titled To the Future. If you enjoy the content I push out and would like to support the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below with any video ideas you'd like to see. I also have a community Discord linked in the description, so if you'd like to chat with me and other fans of the series, feel free to join up and say hello. For your sake, I hope you're all fans of Nagi and REO, and thanks as usual for tuning in. Blue Lock Chapter 297 opens up with intro text stating, amidst adversary, REO is still aiming for a world together with Seishiro. To Nagi, this light is... We begin with a new angle of Chapter 296's final page, this time seen from behind Nagi's jersey. He stands in silence, frozen in awe as he watches REO shine with ego and confidence. In his mind, Nagi realizes that he's lost his fire for him, but somehow, REO still wants to relight the spark. His words, his presence, is all in an attempt to give Nagi a new dream. We then see REO spinning the ball on his finger with a sly grin, telling Nagi that they're going to score these last 2 goals of the game, and in doing so, become the protagonist of the world. Heroes. As REO speaks, Nagi continues to watch him, thinking back to the old REO, the one who cried, who broke down when things didn't go his way, the one who used to fear losing, who felt useless without Nagi. Now though, it's clear to him, REO has become super cool and grown in ways Nagi could have never expected. Even if deep down he's still afraid and scared, REO isn't letting it show. Instead, he's putting on a bold, confident facade, not just for himself, but for both of them. The panel splits down the middle, showing half of REO's smiling face, and half of Nagi's cold, introspective expression. Nagi watches him closely and begins to believe that if REO can stand strong like this, then maybe he'll get fired up too. The perspective shifts back to Isagi's side, where Igarashi and Kunigami stare at him in disbelief, still processing what just happened. Isagi, deep in thought, begins to analyze the feeling. He concludes that there's likely a formula behind this ecstatic experience he just unlocked. In his case, it requires a rival he wanted to surpass, and a goal he wanted to desperately achieve. When those two aligned, his sharpest logic activated, allowing him to evolve and perform at his absolute peak, a machine of perfect execution. As he reflects on this, shadowy figures of his biggest rivals, Itoshi, Nagi, and Baru, appear behind him, symbolizing the fire that drove him to this point. Isagi realizes that when he strives to win, and especially when he wins through his own calculations, that's what truly fires him up and thrills him in the moment, his originality. Every time he wins, every result he achieves, his experience and skills grow. And with that growth, it just makes it easier and easier to replicate his techniques, letting him consistently perform at a higher level. Bit by bit, Isagi yoichi is becoming a player built entirely around evolving logic and reproducible dominance. The thing is though, he knows he can't reproduce that fire on command. As he stares down at the ground, a metavision tunnel forms around him, puzzle pieces swirling with images of all of his past evolutions and growth. He comes to a quiet realization. Those feelings, that overwhelming fire he felt, only existed in those specific moments. Technique and logic are just tools, methods he uses to carry out the plan. But the fire, that's the origin. That's where everything begins within Isagi yoichi. Just as his inner thoughts settle, Ego Jinpachi cuts in, interrupting his monologue. He announces that it's time to reveal the rest of the auction bids. Isagi looks up at the board, thinking to himself that only those who grasp this fire and act on it will survive, and those who misjudge it will fall and fade away. That's just Blue Lock. As the rankings update, we see Shiro Ryuze sitting at 3rd place, earning a 160 million yen bid from PXG, which makes me so happy by the way. Coming in close behind, Bato ranks 4th with a 150 million yen bid from Italy's Ubers. Let me know what you guys think about these rankings, because while I've seen a lot of people complain, they honestly make perfect sense to me. Shiro Ryuze has been a lethal team player for PXG, and they've clearly got the cash to throw around, while Bato really hasn't shown anything new and arguably cost Ubers the game. With that, the perspective then switches back to the Manshan City vs FC Bartra match, where Nagi kicks off the ball to REO. REO traps it with a defender pressing against his back, while Nagi sprints up the field. Nagi knows the stakes. If Bartra scores one more, it's all over. He has to score a goal. In this moment of pressure, all he's wondering about is where will REO choose to pass. With the REO holding off a defender with one hand, he sends off a pass left to Nagi Seishiro, who's sprinting up the field. Nagi meets the ball with a smooth first touch, popping it over the head of the first defender as he keeps moving forward. More than anything in this moment, he wants to become the me that REO desires. In his head, he chants REO's name, using it as fuel to push forward. Charging ahead, Nagi leaps forward and touches the ball with his head, leaving both defenders frozen in shock. As he floats through the air and glances around the field, he begins thinking, should he shoot? What would REO do? He's too far out though. Caught up in the moment, unsure of his next move, he starts to wonder what to absolutely do. Then suddenly, Lavinia jumps in out of nowhere, catching Nagi completely off guard. Scaring the hell out of Nagi and REO, Barch's master striker charges in and traps the ball cleanly, cutting off Nagi's moment of hesitation. Roaring at Nagi, Lavinho fires off that football is not a passing sport. Nagi immediately panics, thinking that if Lavinho can take control here, they will lose everything. Before Lavinho can fully capitalize, Munchen City's master striker Chris Prince charges in and intercepts the play. With a wide grin and full energy, he shoves Lavinho aside and claims possession, shouting that they're not done yet and will be going forward into the future. Prince wastes no time. He immediately hits a roulette turn around Lavinho, leaving him behind in one smooth motion. Despite Nagi running to his right for a 1-2, Chris completely ignores him, locked into his own flow. Pulling back his leg to strike, Chris declares that he won't grant a future to egoists who don't pursue their own ideals. To everyone's surprise, Prince doesn't shoot. Instead, he launches a short pass upfield to the other half of the duo, REO Mikage. Surpass reality, Blue Lockers, he shouts as the ball cuts through the field. REO running alongside Atoya is left in awe at the choice made by his master striker. As the ball closes in, Chris Prince yells out to REO, telling him to score it for himself because he wants to see his future. Fueled by the challenge, REO locks in. He proceeds to copy Atoya's exact off-the-ball movement from last chapter, this time using it on Atoya himself. Slipping into his blind spot like a demon, REO turns the tables, showing that he's been paying close attention and is now using Atoya's own weapon against him. With pages 16 and 17 being a double spread, REO Mikage leaps into the air with the same technique as Atoya, completely avoiding a slide tackle and volleying the ball forward towards the goal. Improvising a copy on the fly, we see a chameleon aura appear behind him and holding on to him, signaling his adaptability in real time. REO's eyes shift into a deep black as he's now entered the reflexive flow state. From behind, Nagi watches it all unfold, frozen in place and completely shocked by what he's witnessing. With the ball slamming into the back net, REO has tied the game at 2-2 with a clutch equalizer, assisted by Chris Prince. Atoya and REO land at the same time, both watching the ball settle with REO's tongue dangling out, completely entranced by what he's just done. From the sideline, Chris Prince hollers in celebration, thrilled by his student's success. And with that, the 3-minute timer on the star change system expires, and the master's time on the field is officially over. After the goal, REO looks almost mortified, clearly overwhelmed by what he just did. He quickly turns to Nagi, profusely apologizing for shooting on his own, but instead of being upset, Nagi calmly tells him it's completely fine. He got fired up and showcased his skill. REO stares on in confusion as Nagi continues, admitting that he's gotten used to being spoiled, acting like a child and always believing that REO would be there for him. With a calm but sincere look, Nagi apologizes to REO for everything he's put him through, for being a pain in his life. As he tightens his glove and a sharp aura flares from his eyes, Nagi makes a silent vow. From now on, he'll get fired up and fascinated all on his own. REO stares back at him, a shimmer of light in his eyes taking in the new Nagi standing before him. And with that, the outro text reads, "I have to change on my own. This spirit will pave the new world for Nagi Seishiro." As that ends off the chapter, Blue Lock chapter 297 comes to a close, and we'll pick back up next week with chapter 298, titled Alone X Together. This next chapter is confirmed to be 24 pages long, and will hopefully bring an end to the Munchen City vs FC Barcha match. With Nagi now determined to get fired up on his own, I'm really hoping we get a solo run where he absolutely obliterates Barcha using his active playstyle and raw dribbling. I'm also loving how both REO and Nagi are developing into independent players, carving out their own paths, and maybe this evolution could set them up to become like semi-rivals, pushing each other even harder moving forward. Let me know down in the comments what you most would like to see or predict for next chapter. Anyways, with that sadly being the end of today's video, I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in to watch. If you enjoy staying updated with Blue Lock or just want to support my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button and commenting below for the algorithm. I also have a community Discord you can find linked down below, so if you'd like to chat with me or other fans of the series, please feel free to join up. Thank you all so much again, and I'll see you in the next upload shortly.